to it, is the primary funding source for the general operations of school districts and educational service districts that serve Oregon students from kinder through 12th. The state school fund resources are combined with the local school revenues, resulting in a total school formula, or what we call the formula resources. Formula refers to the equalization formula in ORS 327.008 that equitably allocates school funding to school districts and ESDs on a per pupil basis, weighted for specific student and district characteristics and concerning the availability of local resources. School districts receive a general purpose grant and a transportation grant from the state school fund, and ESDs receive the general service grant. Current law requires that the Department of Administrative Services and the Legislative Fiscal Office must prepare a tentative biennial budget for the upcoming biennium based on the cost of continuing current programs authorized in law. House Bill 2140 modifies that methodology by which DAS and LFO calculate the next biennial budget for the state school fund. As a matter of practice, the Department of Education distributes 49% of the state school fund's available funding for the general purpose or service grants and the transportation grants in the first year of the biennium, the remaining 21% in the second year. House Bill 2140 codifies that distribution percentage into law. Additionally, the measure specifies that CFO and LFO project future cost calculations based on the amount of funding distributed in the second year of the biennium and with consideration given to annual local revenue estimates. House Bill 2140 has no fiscal impact, specifically on the 25-27 state school fund budget, as DAS and LFO have used this methodology to develop the tentative budget already. However, House Bill 2140 may impact future current service level budget calculations related to the state school fund. LFO is recommending that House Bill 2140 be moved to Ways and Means full committee.
Madam Co-Chair, I move House Bill 2140 to the full committee with a due pass recommendation.
Co-Chair Ruiz moves House Bill 2140 to the full committee with a due pass recommendation. Is there any discussion? Is there any? Yeah.
Well, I wanted everybody else to have a chance to speak first, but
It looks like, Jag, you're it.
so I want to say this is an important bill every year. It's an important structure of giving stability and also giving, I guess I would say, predictability to our schools, and we continue to need to improve it. We continue to need to really look at where we do have gaps in that security and that stability and predictableness. There are issues that have been involved in the last 2 or 3 years, both with the governor's office as well as the legislature, that have tried to really look at what some of the districts were saying as far as you don't have a true picture of what we are dealing with as far as costs or as far as program development or things of that nature. And so I think that the work that's been done by everyone involved, the legislators, the districts, the unions, and COSA and OSBA, has really been a beneficial program over the last 2 years of really talking, understanding, and relating to each other. I also think it's really important to know it's not perfect. What we're passing today is not perfect, but it is something that I want to thank our co-chairs, and I want to thank this committee for trying to do our best job of understanding what the situation is, what we can handle in this year's budget, and what needs to go first to be successful, generally speaking. So this again is something I'm going to support as an imperfect bill, but a bill that is a good step forward, a bill with some technical changes, and a bill that has had an imprint from everybody in the educational world.
Any other questions, comments? Or just comments, please, no questions? Or could be. Okay, with that, please take the roll call vote.
Representative McLean?
Aye.
Representative Hudson?
Aye.
Representative Wright?
Aye.
Representative Yonker?
Aye.
Co-Chair Ruiz?
Yes.
Senator Frederick?
Yes.
Senator Weber?
Aye.
Co-Chair Swalwell?
Aye. Motion carries. With that to the full committee, would you like to carry that? Sure. Full committee, so Senator Frederick will carry to the full committee. House floor, Representative McLean? Yep. Representative McLean,
Yep.
is that correct?
Yep.
Yes. And Senate floor, would you like to? Okay, Senator Weber. With that, House Bill 21, work session on House Bill 2140 is closed. And I'm opening up a work session on Senate Bill 5516, Department of Education State School Fund.
Okay, the state school fund is a primary funding source. You're going to hear this a lot. Primary funding source for the general operations of school districts and educational service districts that serves more than 545,000 Oregon students from kinder through grade 12. State school fund resources include state general fund, lottery fund, marijuana tax, and corporate activity tax revenues from the Fund for Student Success. These state revenues are combined with local school revenues, primarily property tax, which are not included in the state biennial budget, and they result in a total school funding formula resource. The formula refers again to the equalization formula in ORS 327.008 that equitably allocates school funding to districts and ESDs on a per pupil basis, weighted for certain student and district characteristics, and accounting for local revenues. Local revenues, including property tax, common school fund revenues, and certain timber revenues, are estimated to total $5.6 billion in the 25-27 biennium. Combined with state resources of $11.4 billion, the total formula resources are expected to be more than $16.7 billion for the 25-27 school year, 25-27 biennium, apologies there. That is a $1.59 billion or 10.5% increase in total formula funding from the 23-25 biennium. School formula resources are allocated to school districts and ESDs on that per weighted student basis, also known as the ADMW, which is estimated to be 670,258 in the 25-26 school year. School districts receive the general purpose grant and transportation grant from the state school fund, and ESDs receive the general service grant based partially on the weighted average daily membership of the school districts in that ESD's territory. Certain programs are funded from the state school fund, known as carve-outs, in addition to the distribution to school districts and ESDs. These programs are identified in statute and include transfers into the high-cost disabilities account, statewide English language learners account, and the Educator Advancement Fund. All other school spending decisions are made at the local level by elected school boards. The 25-27 current service level for the state school fund is $11.4 billion, an 11.4% change from the 23-25 legislatively approved budget. Current service level includes standard adjustments from the 23-25 budget for increases in employee compensation, changes in PERS rates and health insurance costs, changes in student enrollment, and estimated changes in in local revenues. Additionally, proposed changes were included in the 25-27 current service level calculation, including assuming that 49-51% funding split between the first and second year of the biennium, and basing the future cost changes on the higher year of the split, and annualizing the local revenue estimates to recognize the revenue fluctuations between the first and second year of the biennium. The LFO recommended budget for the state school fund for 25-27 is that adjusted current service level budget of $11.4 billion. This increased amount assumes funding is included for any expense the school districts might incur related to the implementation of the accountability measure, Senate Bill 141. Based on the May 2025 economic revenue forecast produced by the Office of Economic Analysis, resources and amounts for the state school fund are as follows. General fund, $9,850,229,757. Lottery fund, $625,259,443. Marijuana tax, $43,568,275. Corporate activity tax, $839,625,392. And state timber tax, $759,823, for a total state school fund of $11,359,442,690. Typically, general fund and lottery fund amounts will be rebalanced at the end of the legislative budget process to reflect both that May 2025 economic revenue forecast and the other uses of lottery funds statewide. So any needed adjustments will be made then in the end of session bill.
Excellent. In here.
You good?
You see.
Okay, just want to make sure. I move the LFO recommendation to Senate Bill 5516.
Co-Chair Ruiz moves the LFO recommendation to Senate Bill 5516. Is there any discussion?
Are we, this is the base bill we're working on? Okay, yeah, I have comments.
Perfect.
This has been a new experience for me to serve on this committee, and I want to say how much I appreciate everybody here. It's been a lively discussion, and I appreciate that. I also appreciate the governor and her emphasis on literacy and the extra money that came into our education budget. It's needed, but as we probably note from our emails, there are a number of school districts who are going to be cutting. So whatever we put forward, it's obviously not enough to meet the needs in a variety of ways. So as I look at the budget and I say, are there things that maybe we can move the money someplace else? The ODE budget includes the Department of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion with a $15 million budget, I believe. I believe DEI has been problematic, ineffective, and has failed to achieve its goals. I have not found any study where DEI initiatives and goals have effectively reduced discrimination or improved student outcomes. DEI initiatives prioritize identity over merit, which can undermine the importance of academic achievement. For decades, DEI initiatives have been part of the educational system, aiming to create a more equitable and inclusive curriculum. It has failed to produce reasonable results. Money is tight, with schools anticipating cuts to their budget. I respectfully suggest elimination of the ODE DEI department and its budgets then to be used to service and support our special education students who are solely underfunded. In its place, I recommend a further emphasis on civic education, mental health, resiliency, behavioral classroom management, and specific teacher training and research-based practices. As such, chairs, I will be a no on this bill as a marker. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Yunker.
Yeah, this is hard because I was the child here that couldn't even find a bus to go to school. So I know what it's like to go to school in Oregon when all this failed. But I also look at the budget as compared. We've had some discussion about how much we're paying per pupil, students like that, and outcomes. So you're looking at the budget as a whole. I'm very conservative when it comes to spending money, but outcome versus money spent is definitely, don't have a spending, I should say, a problem with spending money, but we have a problem with outcomes. And it didn't just start in COVID. I've heard that many times in some of these meetings, because I've went back and looked at 2015, we were 40th. 2017, we were 43rd. We have the shortest school days, where we're spending more money than most other states. We have less students enrolling. So why are the results that we're spending money not showing? But I don't want to be that, give that, the kid not the opportunity, the child not to have the opportunity to be in school and get everything. So I think what we're still focusing on is things that are not working. And we're actually asking for more money, less students. And I really have a problem with that. If we were in the top 10, I would really say we're doing great and money is going in the right place, and the amount of money and income spending is not correlating for me. And I had hoped, and I was actually going to say this, but I wonder how many speeches have been done in this building about how education, we hope that education gets better. Going back to 2015, 2017, and this is gonna be it, we're gonna help our children. How many floor speeches have been up there and saying about education, and here we are today doing the same thing and talking about hoping this works. So I hope that in 2 years when we come back here, that I'm not doing the same speech. I'm gonna vote yes today against everything, my will, but I will vote no in 2 years. I'm gonna let you know that right now. I'm gonna vote no because I don't wanna hear no more speeches that we're gonna get better in 2 years. We're gonna get better in 4 years. I just don't see that's the outcome. We should not be, if we're 49th, 48, whatever we are. I like to see us at 40th or 43rd, and then we're moving down. You know, we're getting better and getting better. And the money we're spending is actually working. If this was a business, I would fire everybody and get new people because management's not working right. You know, that's how I look at it. Is the money I'm spending in a corporation, I would get new people to work for me and make sure my money was going as the way it should be. So, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and allow this to go, but I think we need to, accountability, like the bill you guys talked about earlier, needs to be there. We need to hold everybody accountable, not just the teachers, not the school, but everybody in this process. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Frederick.
Thank you. Representative Wright, you are not going to be surprised that I disagree with you on the DEI situation.
I look forward to it.
Because I've had to dealing with diversity and watching that nationally, statewide. I've had my own personal involvement with this. Desegregating my high school was just one of those things that I had to deal with. Watching the changes take place in across the state in terms of the demographic changes and how because of the Department of Education and because of some of the bills that we've passed here in this building, we actually have some emphasis on the various cultural groups that were being dismissed. They were not. You didn't hear about the African American contributions to science, et cetera, because without the diversity, without the inclusion, without the equity issues, that particular department monitors how well we are in fact addressing the identity, the support, the communities of the different groups that come in. If you are in Ontario and you've got 62% of the students who are Latino, you need to know how to directly address those students in an effective way. Or if you are in East Portland, you need to be able to look at the Somali refugees and the Asian and Pacific Islander kids that are there. All of those things are part of this effort in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I realize that for a number of folks across the country, that's a code word, as far as I'm concerned, for attacking, for saying we don't want to have folks who do not look European as part of this. It is an important and extremely important aspect of the changes that we've seen in our culture, in our country, to really acknowledge what we need to do in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's an important factor that brings the rest of the community together. If we are going to be effective, we need to have everybody working on this, not just certain folks. And that's how I look at that particular situation. I did a little research on you. You are pretty amazing. I just want you to know. I'm talking about Representative Wright.
I was like,
You know how I feel about you. Yes, you are amazing. But one of the things that I'm proud of is that when I was a reporter, I got to all 36 counties in the state. And I continue to go. I haven't gotten back to Lake County or Wallowa County since I've been in this role. But I have friends of mine in other places, and I hear about you. I talk with folks, you and Representative Yunker, and as well as Representative Hudson and of course McLean and Ruiz. But I decided I would do a specific thing and call a couple of friends of mine. Pretty damn good reputation you got there. I'm really impressed. But and the way that you managed to work with everybody, which is also an important factor for me. So I'm pleased with that. For me, in terms of DEI, that's and diversity, equity, and inclusion, that is important, and that's why I see it there, and why I'm glad to see us continuing the support. I am also pleased with the direction we're going. I ran for office to deal with education issues. I had spent 13 years as the Director of Public Information for the Portland schools, watching the funding and the support be stripped away. In many cases, many places outside of the Portland area didn't recognize, frankly, some of the things that we ended up losing. But you know, there were no bans for elementary school. There were no bans for middle school. We used to have the Rose Festivals coming up in 2001, 2002. We couldn't put together a band from a high school because there were not enough kids who had learned how to play the instruments. So we had to use 5 different high schools in order to put together a band. That's just a simple thing, but we were also losing the intention of being an effective district because of the cuts that we had. I just ran into one of the school board members upstairs who worked hard, Harold Turner, to try to keep things moving along. We continue to struggle. It's going to take a lot more than, unfortunately, Representative Yunker, it's going to take a lot more than 2 years for us to turn things around.
We've been working on this for a long time.
Pardon?
We've been working on this for a long time.
Yes, I recognize that, but we've also had an effective history of dismantling programs across the state as well. And so we're trying to reconnect and refocus how we're going to be dealing with things. And that's going to take longer than 2 years to really make that change. I think we can do it, but I think we can do it if we are, in fact, all working together, as I said before.
We moved to 48?
Pardon?
Can we move to 48?
Can we move to 48? I will also tell you this. When I look at how we want to be ranked in terms of 40, 42, 48, whatever, the ranking, first of all, I think is important. How we gauge that ranking is an important factor. You know, I had to fight to make sure that we were doing effective testing, et cetera, to determine what that ranking was like. And I'm glad we're doing that. But we really do need to understand that for a long time, we were not encouraging kids to actually learn. We were encouraging kids to take tests. And so I think we are finally beginning to understand that that's not where we want to go. We want to make sure that kids are actually learning. And part of that whole effort with the science of reading is getting kids to actually learn and enjoy reading and enjoy getting to libraries and things. So I think that's part of what I'm pleased with the accountability aspect as well. So I watched Director Williams turn around a high school in North Portland when she was the high school principal there. She did an outstanding job there. And she has the energy and the vision that I think will help us at a statewide level. But it's going to take all of it. It's not just going to be one person who can do this. It's got to be everybody actually working at it. So I appreciate it and keep pushing us. I think that's the way to deal with it. But we've got to truly understand that there's a long list of things that we need to be able to do to turn things around. I'd like to have us, frankly, be dealing with not just so much ranking, but really being, again, having people believe, as they did in the 80s and 90s, that 70s and 80s, that we were the most literate state in the United States.
Thank you. Representative Wright?
Thank you for the kind words.
Okay.
I appreciate it. That goes back at you. I agree with you that whatever we do, whatever departments we have, whatever programs we have, if it doesn't bring us together, then it separates us, and that's bad. That's not what we want. E pluribus unum is there. I didn't pronounce that very well. Excuse me.
We're gonna have to do something about that.
Yeah, from one many. I think whatever programs we do, I think that should be our philosophy. That whatever we do, if it brings us together, then we're going in the right direction. Thank you.
Right. I'm just doing a real time check here.
She keeps bringing up my name. I got to respond.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to.
You don't have to, but if you could ever so briefly. Ever so
You took
briefly.
up a lot of time. I got to
Yep.
take up some time.
Tick tock, tick tock.
I would have to agree with some of what Senator Frederick said and some of you did what he said. I didn't grow up in 1960, putting that out there. But I did grow up as an adult, serving 21 years in the military and working with a very diverse population. Many times, people in charge of me did not look like me. And I would say that system worked a lot better because we were all taught that we're all one, you know what I'm saying? And there was very little wriggle room to move outside that we are all different shades of green is what we used to say. And there is no place for any of that other garbage. And I took that to heart. And so the people that I work with that have been around there for a while, and I saw a lot of good merit-based promotions from merit versus other things. And I would like to get us back to looking at people as individuals and not other places. And I know I push back on that a lot. I'll just be straight honest. Because of my history, I spent a lot of my time in Southern California, even though I went to school here, and being in the military with a very diverse population, with a family that put their daughter in an all-black preschool before for a year, because the guy I worked with I really liked and his wife. And I think a lot of things that we push are taught to children that they're bad. And I could tell you my 4-year-old daughter did not know the difference between someone's color and someone's not. They just look at it as a child. So, and she told us today, we're getting ready to go to Hawaii at the end of the month, June, with her friend that doesn't look like me. If we're going to put it that way, you know, because it's her friend. She looks as an individual, as a person. Now, they could disagree. I'm going to keep talking. Disagree about politics or policies, but they still like the people. So I just hope that we can get to that and stop dividing us and look at people as individuals. That's just where I want to be. And that's what I want my kids to teach. So, and I want to work on reading more. I do agree with you. Sorry.
Thank you. Final thoughts?
Yes, thank you,
Co-Chair.
Co-Chair Solomon. I just want to thank my colleagues in House and Senate, and I agree with Representative Wright. I think this is one of the committees that we have such rich conversations, and I learn a lot from each one of you, and we might disagree on sometimes, and we might agree, but I think at the end of the day, we treat each other with respect, and we prioritize our children, and I honor that, and I hope we continue that partnership throughout the interim and throughout the years that we got in this planet Earth. I will say, I think with the revenue forecast, we were all crossing our fingers and our toes, hoping that we were going to have some good news. And unfortunately, that was not the case. And we are having very, very difficult conversations around budgets that we were thinking of proposing through early childhood, K-12, higher education, wraparound services. That includes summer learning, early literacy, the list goes on and on. But the fact of the matter is, we do not have those resources. And I'll be honest, I think one of the things that made me very nervous leading up to this day was bringing a proposed state school fund budget that was less than what the governor's recommended budget was. And the reason I share that is because that was a scenario, and where we were looking into potentially lowering that amount. And I want to thank the superintendents, the teachers, parents, and students who have reached out to many of our offices, but I'll speak on my behalf of the urgency of protecting the 11.4, because I think that really made the difference in the work that we are doing today and what we are bringing forward. Recognizing that this is obviously not a perfect path, but this is a path that sustains us as a state that is investing in education and increasing education funding despite other budgets getting cuts. When you look at the need is high. It doesn't matter where you go in the state, it's high. But I'm confident that this budget will sustain us moving forward. And I think we ought to have conversations in the interim on accountability, on the things that we are pushing forward for our children. And I love to research as well, similar to all of you. And there's work that we have to do within our own bubble of funding that could improve student outcomes, especially prioritizing and focusing on students with the highest needs, which are students who are living under the federal poverty level. So I encourage all of you to continue to stay engaged, and let's go to our next committee.
Yes.
Actually, don't go to your next committee.
Let's pass this first.
Not yet.
And let's go. And let's get the money
So-
and let's go.
The motion has been made, and then now LFO, there's a three-step process here.
Take a vote on the motion.
Did you want me to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, please.
Representative McLean,
Aye.
Representative Hudson,
Aye.
Representative Wright,
No.
Representative Youngker,
Yeah.
Co-Chair Ruiz.
Yes.
Senator Frederick,
Yes.
Senator Weber,
Aye.
Co-Chair Solomon.
Aye. Motion carries.
LFO recommends, in the amendment, LFO recommends a budget of $9,850
So QEM?
million, 229,757 general fund, 625,259,443 lottery funds, and 883,953,490 other funds, which is reflected in the -2 amendment.
Madam Co-Chair, I move the adoption of the -2 amendment to Senate Bill 5516.
Co-Chair Ruiz moves the adoption of the -2 amendment to Senate Bill 5516. Is there any discussion? Please, no. Thank you. Is there any opposition to that amendment?
Just a quick question. We're voting for the amendment.
The dollar, the -2. This is the dollar that attaches that. the dollar.
Thank you.
Okay. Any objection? Seeing none, motion carries.
LFO recommends that Senate Bill 5516, as amended by the -2 amendment, be moved to the Ways and Means Full Committee.
Yes, that's me. Madam Co-Chair, I move Senate Bill 5516 as amended to the full committee with a due pass recommendation.
Co-Chair Reeves moves Senate Bill 5516 as amended to the full committee with a due pass recommendation. Is there any discussion?
No, Mom.
Okay.
Is there any objection? None seeing, motion carries. Thank you. Full committee, okay. House floor too?
I can do it.
Okay, and I will do the Senate floor. Okay. With that, I'm closing the work session on Senate Bill 5516. We went a little over, but we were 45 minutes late, so thank you all. Very much appreciate the conversation. I want to just echo my co-chair in that is something that I truly appreciate about each and every one of you, coming to this dais with respectfulness and with questions and curiosity and perspective. So thank you, and thank you to the LFO team for all that you're doing to get us through. Thank you. And with that, I will adjourn.
Can't be that way.
It was really easy.